The Parsha describes how Jacob became aware that his son Joseph was in fact alive. He believed that for many, many years, in fact 2 decades, Joseph was dead, that he had been killed by a wild animal, when the truth was Joseph had been sold into slavery, was living in Egypt, and in fact had become the viceroy of Egypt. And Joseph sent his brothers back with a mission: bring down my father and his entire household. It was the middle of a famine in the land of Canaan. Bring them down to Egypt. I'll give them a fantastic place to live. I'll give them food to eat. I'll provide for them for the rest of their lives. And this is exactly what happened. Now, this was a big journey and a big trek. And Jacob, of course, had a very large household. There were some 70 people, at least 70 people, that had to come down to Egypt, which in those days was a long and difficult and arduous journey. Nevertheless, we find that Jacob begins to go. But before he goes, he sends his son Judah, in the vanguard. He says, you are going first. And he sends him with a mission. And the way that the Torah puts it is, L'horot lefanav Goshna, to seek out for him a place in Goshen. Goshen was the suburb in Egypt where they would live. But what does that mean? L'horot lefanav, to seek out for him a place in Goshen. There is an argument in the Midrash about this phrase. One opinion says that Yehuda was being sent to find a home, a proper home. We can't just arrive in Egypt one day without accommodation. So Yehuda, you go ahead and you go purchase some real estate, and this is the place where I'll set up home, says Jacob. Then the Midrash gives another interpretation, and it says that the word L'horot comes from hora'ah, which means instruction. He was sending Yehuda ahead to set up a house of instruction, a yeshiva, a school. This was even more of a priority than building a house. And here we have an interesting philosophical discussion about what is the most important institution in the Jewish world. One would say it's the yeshiva, it's the cheder, it's the Jewish day school. This is the place where children are nurtured, this is the place where they're educated, this is where they're taught about their heritage. And this is what Jacob put his emphasis on when he sent to Yehuda, go and set up such a place. There has to be a school. Before we arrive in Egypt, there has to be a Jewish school. But others say, as important as the school is, more important than that is the bayit, is the home. Because a child can receive so much in school, formal education, but where are all of the values imparted to a child? That is at home. And it's very interesting that the great rabbinic scholar of 19th century Germany, Rabbi Hirsch, once said, when he saw that so much emphasis was being put on shuls and schools, he said, if I had the ability, if I had the power, I would close synagogues for 100 years, Jewish schools for 100 years, because this would force people to concentrate on Judaism in their home. The home is the place where all of the values and all of the important principles of Judaism are in fact grown. So I believe that we need a perfect partnership. On the one hand, we need schools, and we need good schools, places where children learn the values of Judaism in a formal way, but then there has to be the warmness of the home with parents, fathers, mothers, grandparents, a place where true Jewish values can be nurtured and taught through the love and the care of the parents. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.